As the new year has just started, a lot of you would probably have planned resolutions and goals for the year 2024. Like whether the goals be like losing weight or making more money, a lot of you would probably have similar resolutions and goals planned. However, the harsh fact is that most people, after they set their resolutions, they quit very early on, and only rare few people actually go on to complete their resolutions and fulfill their goals. Researchers and studies conducted in America shows that only 9% of all Americans complete their resolutions which are set at the beginning of the year as the year goes on. Further studies show that 23% of all Americans quit their resolutions by the first week, and a whopping 43% quit their resolutions by the end of the first month. Now, the statistics are that dire for just the first month. You can just imagine how the statistics are for the rest of the following months. Now, I believe the reason for people quitting like this is because they do not have proper techniques and systems in place for setting better goals and actually achieving them. In this video, I'll be talking about the 4 different methods that you can use to set better goals and achieve said better goals. Now, the methods I'm going to be mentioning in this video are going to be methods that you can use regardless of the type of goal that you're pursuing. So regardless of the type of goal, whether it's the type of goal is physical or financial or spiritual, it doesn't matter the nature of the goal itself. These methods will help you no matter what. Now with that said, let's get into the 4 different methods in which you can set better goals for yourselves and actually achieve them. Step 1 is to set a lofty goal. Now when setting a goal, it is very important to realize that if at all the goal you set is way too easy for yourself, you will not find yourself getting motivated to attain said goal, right? So when setting a goal itself, make sure you set a goal which is a little higher than what you think it is that you can currently achieve. Like for example, the goal that I set for myself in 2024 is that I am going to be attempting to post 4 to 5 videos like this in a month, and that is going to be a goal which is a little higher than what I think I can achieve right now, because the schedule I have right now is a little hectic, and I know for a fact that for me to achieve this goal that I have given myself now, my time management has to be completely spot on. So similarly, you guys have to set yourself like a goal which is a little higher and is a little more difficult than what you think you can currently achieve. And when you set a goal like this, you will also find yourself a lot more motivated towards the goal itself, because you will find yourself not having access to the goal right now, which means you have to work and like grow towards a better person rather, to achieve the goal. It's also worth mentioning that when you set lofty goals for yourself and you attempt to achieve them and you move towards achieving them, you are bound to feel a lot of negative emotions, like emotions like frustration, anger, anxiety, and like just horrible emotions like this. You are bound to feel them. But when you feel these emotions, just know that it's completely healthy and normal to do so. Like science actually shows that when you feel these emotions, it's a signal that your brain is literally rewiring itself in real time. So you are growing in real time when you feel these emotions. So you are just growing into the person who's better suited at completing these goals that you have set out for yourself. I don't know if that made sense, but basically in a nutshell, the emotions themselves that you feel is just a signal that you are growing in real time. So in case you feel like a worthless piece of shit when trying to fulfill these goals that you've set for yourself, these hard and lofty goals that you set for yourself, know that it's completely normal and know that it's actually positive. It's a good thing that you're feeling this way. So that's it. That is the first step of you can set better goals and achieve them properly, which is setting a lofty goal for yourself. Now after setting a lofty goal for yourself, method 2 is to actually adopt an identity-based approach. Now one of the best things I learned from the book Atomic Habits is that the way in which people look to fulfill most goals or to actually achieve most goals is in the wrong order, is in the wrong way. Now to explain this concept better, I'll use the concept of concentric circles. So think of this process in terms of concentric circles. The biggest circle is basically your goals, the smaller circle is your actions, and the smallest circle is your identity. This concept basically says that when your smallest circle changes, it changes and executes basically all the circles around it. So this means that the smallest circle being the identity, if you change your identity into the person you want to be, that will automatically mean that make the processes that much more likely that you'll do, which will just make the goals themselves that much more likely that you'll achieve them. Now the order that I just currently mentioned is identity and then processes and then goals. But the wrong order that people follow is goals first and then processes and then identity. Like I'll explain with my own example. So my goal is to basically stay in shape, but the correct order in which I approach the goal is that I change my identity first. I think of myself as an athlete. So when I think of myself as an athlete, eating clean, sleeping right, and just avoiding junk food, drinking proper water, and all these natural processes that athletes follow, it comes naturally to me. So when these processes, they come naturally to me, the goal itself is like that much more natural. It's kind of unthinkable. The fact of me not achieving the goal itself is unthinkable, because all the process, I just adopted the identity of an athlete. So for athletes, these kinds of goals like staying in shape and just having an aesthetic physique, all of these goals are easily attainable. So however, the process or the order that people normally follow is that they want to stay in shape. So when they want to stay in shape, they start with the goal first and then they set processes, which is, well, eat clean and sleep right and all. But the problem with this this approach is that their identity still hasn't changed. So method 2 that I'm putting forth in this video is basically start with your identity first. Start with your identity and then change your processes, and then all the goals that you want to achieve will naturally get achieved. So method 2 is basically have an identity based approach. Method 3 is to set goals on a quarterly basis. Now, have you ever wondered why businesses like top tier public S&P 500 level businesses, they always set quarterly goals instead of weekly, monthly or yearly goals? This is because studies suggest that the perfect time frame to set goals is approximately 84 days or like approximately 3 months. This is why even though businesses talk about bi-weekly, weekly goals like daily goals, monthly goals and even yearly goals, they always prioritize quarterly goals over everything else. This is because 3 months like perfectly turns out to be the precise link between long-term yearly goals and the very short-term daily goals. Like they perfectly links the long-term goals and the short-term goals together. Now, after you've set these goals for yourself on a quarterly basis, make sure you write these goals down, and most importantly, make sure these goals, after you've written them down, make sure these goals are not in actually a place where you can just view them very often. Like many people, and myself included, we have this habit of having goals written and stuck on a wall where you can just view that paper in which the goals are written throughout the day. You can just view it very regularly. And for me, for example, I had my goals written down in this workspace, in this desk that I have, in this PC desk that I have. The reason why this is so bad and the reason why this does not work is because when you have goals written down like this takes away from the novelty of the goals. So when you only look at your goals that you set for yourself like 2 or 3 times during the day or towards the end of the day, you are like, oh, like these are different goals that I can work on. But when you repeatedly look at the same goals over and over again throughout your day, you might think that you would get motivated, but the opposite effect actually happens. You do not get motivated, you often get less motivated, you often get demotivated. This is because the novelty aspect of the goals itself, that it gets taken away. So make sure you set goals on a quarterly basis, which is method 3, and after setting these goals, make sure these goals are both written down and not in a place where you can view them very regularly. Now, method 4, unlike all the other methods that I put forward in the video, is not an actionable step, but it is rather something that you should stop yourself from doing. And method 4 is basically not telling people about the goals you've set for yourself. A seemingly harmless behavior of you telling your friends or your family members about your goals is actually harming your progress. Can you believe that I personally, I did not believe that. I was flabbergasted and I was so shocked when I heard about this fact. But as I looked into the studies and as I looked into the material proving this fact, it made a lot more sense to me. Like, I'll explain the studies and the facts behind it. When you talk to people about your goals, studies show that the part of your brain that gets activated when you talk about your goals to people is the same part of your brain that gets activated when actual progress is made towards the goal itself. This means that even if you're not actually making progress towards your goal, you can trick your brain into feeling the progress is being made by talking to people about your goals. Now, with that said, the advice of telling people about your goals so that you can be kept accountable, or basically the concept of accountability partners as a whole, can work if it's like a singular person. It will also only work if the person is emotionally intelligent. This is a form of tough love, but in my opinion, this way of telling the person or telling a singular person so that you have an accountability partner, I personally would advise against it, because as I stated earlier, for this method to work, the person or the accountability partner of yours has to be very emotionally intelligent for this to work. So one method that I just propose is just be independent. Just don't depend on other people and just don't depend on an accountability partner, but rather just don't talk about your goals until you achieve them, right? Even after achieving your goals, you shouldn't necessarily talk about it, because, well, for one, it would be bragging, and for two, what I personally observed in myself is that after achieving goals, if I talk about my goals to other people, I found myself becoming a lot more complacent towards my present goals. So when you talk about the goals you've already achieved, you kind of drop the ball on your present day life and your present day goals for yourself. So what I just recommend for all of you guys who are watching this video is that, like, just keep your goals to yourself. That's what I've been doing, and for the longest time it has been working a lot better than actually being very vocal about my goals and telling people about my goals, right? So method 4 is to basically keep your goals to yourself and just not being too vocal about your goals in general. So if you want to go ahead and use these 4 methods to make your new year resolutions, then you can absolutely go ahead. To summarize the 4 ways, they are basically setting a lofty goal for yourself, adopting an identity based approach towards the lofty goal, setting these lofty goals every quarter, and not being too vocal about your lofty goals, about the goals you've set for yourself and about the goals that you've already achieved. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope this video has helped you in some way, shape or form. See ya.